Hi, I'm Paul Battaglia, and this is section 7.3, multivariable linear systems. Just from the name alone, I'm sure students can gather that something's different from the previous sections, and really the only big difference is that we're introducing more variables into these systems of equations. And so they're used to 2 variables, and now we'll look at equations or systems that have equations with 3 or even maybe 4 or more. So I have Gabe and Brittany with me here today, and Gabe, start us off. Tell us a little bit about how teacher can structure their lesson.
So this section starts off by talking about systems in row echelon form and solving these systems using back substitution.
Great.
So what I like to tell my students is that really it sounds like something new, but we're just using concepts that we've already talked about in this chapter. So systems in row echelon form, we've sort of seen those in section 7.1, as well as this back substitution method. The only big difference, as you said, is now we have 3 variables or more instead of just 2.
Right. And Brittany, Gabe talked a little bit about this new term, row echelon form, and there's another new term in there, this idea of Gaussian elimination, right?
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that.
So Gaussian elimination is actually similar to the method of elimination, except for now we have these row operations that the students can use in any order to solve the system.
And I think that's an important point for teachers to stress to their students is that, if we do one example where we maybe tripled the first row and then added it to the second, that doesn't have to be the same way every single time,
Each student has, their own method again.
Exactly, right. And so that's been a theme here for the first couple sections of this chapter. One of the applications you can show your students is this idea of curve fitting. And one of the things I like to do is actually give my students, let's say, 3 points on from a quadratic function and ask them, do you think it's possible from just having these 3 points for us to come up with this function? And a lot of them think that there's no way that it can happen. And that's where Gaussian elimination and systems of equations comes into play. So it's really neat to have them, again, they're being kind of taken out of their comfort zone a little bit. They're seeing how we can actually build a function just from simply having some scant information, just 3 points. I hope these tips have been helpful for you. You have much success in section 7.3.